How's it going, everybody? We're here with Representative James Hieb. The primary election is what, James? Like 23 days away, something like that. James's opponent is Christine Drazen out of Oregon's 51st House District. That's Clackamas County, right outside of Portland. And I wanted to have James on because I think this race is very important, because James is one of the few really good conservatives that we can count on, that we've been able to count on here. He's been in the legislature for what, 2 years, right?
Yeah.
2 years.
Over 2 years.
2 years, took Drazen's spot when she ran for governor, and now Drazen's trying to run again to bump you out for whatever reason. We don't know. It's a pretty deep red district, and so it doesn't make any sense to primary a conservative like you, family man, combat veteran, Iraq war veteran. And so I just want to talk to you, man. I'm glad you're here. How are you feeling about the race?
We're feeling pretty optimistic so far. It's pretty much either way, I'm going to keep working till the very last day of the election. So it's been tired lately.
Yeah,
up to a lot.
Being in that legislature, because you've never been elected to office before you joined the legislature in 2022, right? As were appointed, right, by Clackamas County. What's it been like being inside that building and being around all those people? Most of them kind of snakes, probably. What's it been like being around those people, man? What's that experience been like being a representative?
Yeah, it's been quite the learning curve and quite the adjustment, because I've learned that we're told things going into the building that we don't fully understand. Just like whenever I went in the Marine Corps, they said boot camp's going to suck, Iraq's going to suck, but you don't quite fully understand until you get there.
Yeah.
With the legislature, they say drinking from a fire hose. We're constantly getting sensory overload, way more than we can keep up with.
So we've known each other for a few years, man. We met through the Young Republicans, and man, I know you're a guy, you're a man of your word, you're a man we can trust in Salem, in the Capitol. Can't say that for other people that are in there, other politicians that are in there. What's been like give us like a crazy thing that you've noticed or observed? I mean, is it really snaky in there, like most people think?
Definitely a lot of rumors. I hear a lot of people that have been in there for a while compared to like high school, how there's a lot of cliques and rumors going around. And there's speaking of rumors, there was a rumor about, some of the stuff during the Floyd riots in Portland. And I've, addressed that, talked to a lot of people and put that rumor to bed, but there's still people that I've already talked to. It told them that it's not true, and they continue to.
What's not true?
Spread around. That I was a Proud Boy. That I was there with the Proud Boys on August 22nd, in front of the Justice Center. I believe it was 2021.
Yeah. Well, don't they always? And dude, you were there. You like to document. You're a camera guy. You're a photographer. I saw you down there when I was documenting. You were documenting. I didn't see you associating with anybody. You were just kind of down there with a couple buddies. But they're going to say that about anybody that goes to any kind of events where Proud Boys are and whatever. It's just the way they label you to keep you quiet and label you a certain way so people don't vote for you. I don't know, dude. It's so crazy. What other things have they been spreading about you? I mean, there's got to be other things that they're making up about you, because they don't want you there. Salem does not want you there. When I say Salem, I mean the politicians. They've been trying to bounce you since you took office, it seems like to me. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that you're such an outsider there?
A lot of the lobbyists that have been there for a long time, and they represent certain firms, they know that I'm probably not going to be the best for their companies, because I'm going to put the citizens before their corporations. Every decision I make, because I'm not responsible to these corporations. I'm responsible to the American people. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly how a politician should function. And it's so crazy that we've gotten to this point in our country that you can't just get elected and go in and do what's best for the people. If you don't follow what they tell you to do, what the caucus is sometimes, the lobbyists, the special interests, all the people with their hands in the jar, if you don't follow what they do, man, they'll find a way to get rid of you and put dirt on you and label you stuff. And in my opinion, I feel like it's kind of why they've put Christine Drazen on you and put her back in the race to take you out of there. What do you think?
Yeah, very much so. This is one of the last chance that the lobby big lobby business interests is going to be able to donate ridiculous amounts of money because we just passed a little bit of campaign finance reforms.
Mm.
So they got to get her in now, or it may not be feasible in the future without so much money to pay for commercials and advertising.
Yeah. What do you, so let's talk about like, your CPAC score, which is something that the Drazen people were hitting on at the Clackamas County. By the way, you were one vote shy of getting the Clackamas County Republican endorsement. And from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, a bunch of Drazen people showed up that usually don't show up and voted against you and spread lies about you and said that you were, that they had a better CPAC score than you, which when I looked at the CPAC score, I was kind of surprised that you and Drazen were pretty neck and neck. You have a higher score than her currently. The overall score, the lifetime score, you guys are neck and neck. So what's going on with your CPAC score? Why? I mean, it seems like they've said that you've voted for a lot of liberal bills and stuff like that. I thought that was really interesting. What do you have to say?
Yeah, so the very first legislative session that I was involved in was the short session in 2022. And that morning that I got appointed, I literally went up, swore in, and then took my seat and started voting. And a lot of those things, I probably should have just voted no on all of them.
You were just kind of winging it.
Yeah. And I was taking the guidance of some of my colleagues.
Yeah.
Who were not 100% forthcoming. Yeah. So one of those that
they do that. I will say they do that kind of stuff, and sometimes they'll set you up and they'll, like they can't. You don't just for people that don't really understand the political process, they don't just vote for one issue. They take a bill and they pack like 90,000 issues in it, and they hold up one of the issues. And if there's one bad issue that you don't agree with that you cannot vote for, but all these other issues are good, and you don't vote for the bill, they'll say, well, you didn't vote for the good stuff. You didn't like that. They tried it. Is that kind of how it works? That's pretty much how it works. And it sounds like to me, what they did was they held up a shiny penny in front of you and said, hey, this will be good for your district. This will be good for veterans. And you kind of, with the inexperience, which you're learning, you didn't look at the full bill. Is that kind of what you're saying? You didn't look at it like you should have. You kind of took the word of your Republican colleagues.
Yeah, it was a budget bill. So there was a lot of budget allocations, and we have to pass a budget every year, otherwise session doesn't end. And I just figured, okay, this is the budget, we're going with it. I didn't recognize one of the organizations in there, realizing that they were connected to Planned Parenthood, and it was just inexperience.
Yeah.
And then I also believe, at first, I was a little bit naive. I thought that I could, be bipartisan and work with the Democrats. And,
oh gosh. But you came from you had good intentions.
Yeah,
you had good intentions.
But I don't have that much seniority, but I have a year on the other representatives that are the freshman class.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see at a certain point, whenever that the honeymoon phase, so to speak, wore off, whenever a certain day passed and all of their legislation, all of their bills died, and they went, wait, they've just been manipulating us every day.
Yeah. So what's the path forward, man? Like, what can we expect from you if you're reelected for another 2 years and going forward? What can we expect from you? Oregon's facing a lot of problems. We got the drug crisis, the homelessness crisis. We got inflation, just making it so hard to just make a living and support our families. You got the Democrats trying to push things like the Green New Deal, and I guess people like your opponent, Christine Drazen, pushing Green New Deal kind of policies and buddying with the lobbyists, the climate change lobbyists. What can we expect from you, man? I mean, are you gonna bring that CPAC score up? You gonna take it? It seems like you're doing better because your score is tremendously increasing from when you first took office. But what can we expect from you?
I'm gonna try to just call things for what they are. Just be truthful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that the book The Emperor Wears No Clothes comes to mind a lot of the time whenever there's a lot of these climate discussions. And CO2 has been on everybody's mind lately, and we're trying to get a zero CO2 output or carbon neutral in Oregon. Well, I'm not, but the building is.
Right.
and with a majority party. And nobody brings up the elephant in the room that China's got over 1,200 coal power plants, and they're building a brand new coal power plant every 3 weeks so that they can handle the production of lithium batteries and solar panels and windmills so that we can go carbon neutral. They just produce all that carbon on the other side of the world.
Yeah, China doesn't sound like China's going to be playing by the rules or taking anything that any initiative that the UN or that we pass. They're not going to take it serious. They're going to do their own thing. They're China. They're communist China. They have a one party rule. Talk about. I really want to talk about, because dude, I have a heart for our veterans, because especially our combat veterans that have seen wartime, that have been on the front lines, especially in the Iraq War. It was one of the bloodiest wars that our country has seen over the past 50 years, and it was like since World War II. Talk about your time in the service. I mean, you're a Marine, you're a veteran, you fought for our country. You were in Iraq. Did you ever go to Afghanistan?
No.
You were just in Iraq. Tell us a little bit about your service, man.
Yeah, so I was 15 years old whenever the Twin Towers fell. And I remember that day whenever my dad brought me in. He's like, hey, come look at the news. Some guy just ran a plane into a building. And I was like, chuckled at first. I was like, what an idiot. Didn't he see the building? And he's like, no, this is bad. This is really bad. And
yeah, terrorism, terrorist attack.
And then we all saw the second plane hit and the towers fell. And 2 years later, I was 17 and I was able to enlist in the Marine Corps. And
you enlisted because of 9/11?
It sped up the process. I always wanted to serve, but once 9/11 hit, it was like, okay, I'm done with baseball. I'm done with cross country. I'm preparing to go in the military.
Yeah.
And growing up, I'd always my dad was Army, and I'd lived on an Army base and saw like the Army Rangers training, and I was like, okay, I'll be an Army Ranger. So I went to the Army. They said that I had to try out to be a Ranger. I couldn't just start out as being a badass. So
so you went to Iraq. You saw some crazy stuff there. You got hit by an IED. I heard, I know you told me you had some brain damage from the IED. I can tell you, folks, knowing James and knowing him off camera and off, knowing him personally, I know that he is a sharp guy. Don't take, he has to think about things sometimes, and he may not be as polished as Christine Draven, but this guy's smart. He is on it. He knows his stuff. But talk about that. You got hit with an IED. You got hit in Iraq.
Yeah, my squad, we got hit by 9 IEDs, and
jeez,
there were, that was the worst area of Iraq at the time. We were just outside of just right there in Fallujah by the Euphrates River, and so back in 2004, and 2005, 2006.
Wow.
So it's
so you've been doing public service for your whole life, man, and I can't think of a better candidate, a better human being, better person. You have a family, your wife Katie, you got 5 kids, 5 children together. You're a small business owner. This is who we need running for office, guys. And James answered the call, and I know you're not the biggest social person just from knowing you, but you do well. But you just, you're like me. We're not very social butterflies. We have to kind of put on that act sometimes. And running for office, I don't think was something that you kind of maybe envisioned yourself doing. But you answered the call because your county needed you, your district needed you when Drazen stepped down, and you were appointed, man. And I hope you get reelected because like you said in one of your ads, we cannot afford any more career politicians. But yeah, man, give us one last pitch. Why should you be reelected? What are you going to do for Oregonians? Go.
I want to keep the American dream alive. I grew up, I mentioned Army brat, Army kid, moving around. Patriotism was taught to everybody. We all believed America was great and America is worth fighting for. And we, at the time there was the Gulf War, and some of the kids' dads were, deploying to Well, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Somalia. And so growing up, knowing the price of freedom and truly appreciating it, then moving back to Oregon and realizing there's a completely different mindset out here.
Yeah.
I grew up as a little kid. After my dad got out of the Army, we lived in a camper.
Mm-hmm.
We were homeless. We bounced around from place to place until both my parents, were able to get gainfully employed.
Yeah.
My dad, who had been a high school dropout, wound up going to college, getting a degree, and started a business. My mom started a business, and they've grown them. And now I'm building upon their accomplishments and trying to provide a better life for my kids and just continue to grow and achieve that. I now own a house. I was the first man in my family on both sides to graduate high school. I believe in the American dream, and I believe that if we work hard and we make good choices, it'll come together. So I'm here to inspire people and put down this anti-American rhetoric that is so toxic and destructive to our society as a whole. So the American dream is alive, and I'm going to fight for it. And if you keep me in Salem, I'm going to make sure that I make Oregon as good a place as I can.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, man, I wish you had more time. I appreciate you coming in today and filming. And, dude, I wish you the best, man. Go vote for James on May 21st. Ballots drop the week of May 1st, guys. If you live in Clackamas County, it's pretty simple. It's between a career politician, Christine Drazen. You've already seen the things that she voted for in the past, or a family man like James, who's a true conservative, who is going to put our needs first. Let's support him, donate to him. And yeah, man, it was an honor to have you here, man, as a someone who fought for our country, and you're continuing to serve it today. I really appreciate you, dude. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
All right. Goodbye. Later, everybody.